So, welcome everyone. I'm Dr. Shubhda Chaudhary, and today we are going to discuss about a visual trip to West Bank because that's where I have been. And the photos that I'm going to share with you, a lot of them, we are lucky that we have it. In most of the cases, a lot of the other um, colleagues that I had could not share their pictures. It was taken away. So, this visual journey is very rare. And I want you to have this visual journey with me today to understand it from a perspective which is not judgmental, but at least only visual as of now. We cannot judge something which we cannot understand. So right now we don't understand. We have to start from minus, not even zero. So let us start. The first, in the previous class, I drew the entire map of um, Israel and Palestine. And I told you that Israel-Palestine is not bigger than Delhi NCR. It's a very small territory, which is divided into three parts. Very small territory. So now, 15th of May 1948, Israel declares itself as independent. But if you look at the yearly Independence Day celebration, they do it according to the Hebrew calendar. So, like for example, in India, we have 26th of January, we have 15th of August. It doesn't keep changing every year, right? 26th January, 15th August. Republic Day, Independence Day, right? But in Israel, they follow a different kind of calendar, a Hebrew calendar. So the dates of the Independence Day keep varying according to the Hebrew calendar of that year. So sometimes it might be in April, sometimes it might be in May, depends. Now, the first thing is that the question that was asked to me in the previous class was it deliberate that you know like British India was divided into Pakistan, East Pakistan, India, and West Pakistan, right? It was deliberately done by colonial powers, which led to a partition and refugee crisis. My first request to you is that do not see Israel-Palestine with the lens of India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. These are different territories, these are different terminologies, these are different histories, these are different sociologies. And these are different areas of land, like India is like 50 times bigger than Israel-Palestine. 50 times, like I'm just guessing. Now, what was the gradual reason that, West Bank is in a certain area, Gaza is in a certain area? How did it change? In detail, we'll do it in, the process. But let me tell you, this area that you see in white over here, right? This area, most of it is desert. It is not, it cannot be inhabited. So when the Jews were coming, now the Jews were not only coming from Europe. A lot of Jews were coming from Middle East also. Like Iran, for example, has the largest Jewish population. The oldest church, Christian church, Armenian church, is in East Jerusalem. I'll show you how it looks. So most of the, and also remember that when the Jews came, it's not only the Holocaust, it was also the Russian pogrom that was happening in the Russian Empire in 1902, 1901, where so many Jewish villages, they were completely burnt. People were killed immediately. Like this was 1902, 1903. So it's just not the Holocaust. At the same time, when these Jews came, they had a certain kind of, they're divided into two categories. Ashkenazi Jew and Sephardic Jews, we'll discuss that in detail, but they came from a socio-political or economic privilege. Like this area, which was part of the Ottoman Empire, right? There was no colonial state boundary called as Palestine. The British Mandate of Palestine was called when British colonized and took over. Now, when the Jews are coming, they are obviously locating themselves at places which are fertile. And they also have better technology. So the entire desert area, they're able to make it agriculturally better. So a very famous line is that, this area, this land was a land without people, for a people without land. Like no one stayed here, it was a desert area. And we, the Jews, we don't have any land. We have been, ostracized by Europe. So we are coming and taking our biblical roots, the promised land, back. Now, there is a lot of debate in this. We'll go into the detail of that. But so slowly and slowly, when they start taking over, all of this, like all of this was mostly Palestine, and the white population that you can see was Jewish owned land. Then, after the wars, various kinds of wars, this was a partition plan which UN, because British then abandoned the cause, they decided that no, we are having a massive heartbreak after all the colonial empires that we have in the world crashing down. We cannot take care of it. And the UN, which was then formed after the League of Nations, which had just, completely failed itself, was like, okay, we will do it. And then they took over. And this was the trajectory which was given. Later, it was like this. And presently, it is like this. There has been a lot of wars. Initially, in 1948, the Arab leaders like Nasser, for example, or Egypt, Syria, Jordan, they had attacked Israel. Israel declared itself independent. India got its independence from the British. Do you see the power asymmetry? You're given independence, you declare independence, right? So a lot of stories are behind it. So all of this was taking place over the period of time. And I'll show you pictures when how, so it was not deliberate that only that will be Gaza or this. In fact, if it was deliberate, they shouldn't have given Gaza to the Palestinians. No, because Gaza was a very important port. As I told you, from the spice route, from the Silk Road time, we are talking about 1000 BC, 2000 BC. Gaza was a very important port during the Ottoman Empire. So if you look at it economically, Gaza shouldn't have been, they should have taken it like Haifa. So it's not deliberate as such. It was according, now understand the refugee crisis that is happening at a massive scale. A refugee crisis that is happening at a massive scale, people who are coming, they're coming in ships, they're coming in, very difficult situations. Think about it. The kind of massive chaos that it might be. And in 1948, we also have something called as the Al-Nakba. Al in Arabic is the. Nakba is Exodus. So a lot of Palestinians, like more than 8 million Palestinians who had their land, they had to leave this area, go to Jordan, go to other West Asian countries, Middle Eastern countries. Many got citizenship in other countries, many are still in refugee camps. Imagine from 1948 till now, a lot of them are still in refugee camps in Syria, in Jordan. At the same time, the Arab leaders also abandoned the cause. Initially, it was called as the Arab-Israeli conflict. But the Arab leaders slowly and slowly started abandoning the cause. There were many reasons of it. The Palestinian militia groups that evolved and all of it, which was creating domestic issues for them. Many issues. Just like right now, Qatar is saying that no, we don't want Hamas officials to be. And Hamas has been in Qatar from the late 90s. So coming to, if you see West Bank properly, so now look at this. So this is the Gaza Strip. You had the Gaza port over there. Ashdod is this area. Ashdod, they're also trying to make it into a port, and it is actually a port, but in a very um, rudimentary way. Tel Aviv is here. Tel Aviv is the so-called financial capital of Israel. Here is Haifa. Just next to it is the Haifa Bay Port. Haifa Port has been purchased by Adani Group of India. Haifa Bay Port, which is next here, it is an artificial port which has been created by the Chinese. And it is under the entire tutelage of the Chinese as of now. Here you have another area called as the Golan Heights. It's a rocky mountainous area. Golan Heights are basically mountains. A lot of Druze stay there. Who are the Druze? We'll discuss it. Yesterday there was attack for the first time in the Golan Heights. Indian peacekeeping forces, Indian army men are deployed in Golan Heights for peacekeeping through UN, UNIFIL, and others. Now this is West Bank. It is called as West Bank because it is on the western side of the river bank of Jordan. So West Bank. Technically, there should be an East Bank also then. But according to the terminology, it is called as West Bank. The Jews who strongly believe in the case of Israel, according to the Torah and their religious scriptures, they call it Judea and Samaria. West Bank is called as Judea and Samaria. They don't call West Bank. For example, the American ambassador who has now been selected by the Trump administration, Huckabee, he clearly says that it is Judea and Samaria. There are no Palestinians. So next we have to see, now West Bank itself is divided into three areas. Area A, Area B, and Area C. Now what exactly it is? Here you can see the Jordan River is very important. There is a Sea of Galilee here. This is the Dead Sea. This one is the Dead Sea. So Dead Sea is very important, you know. This is a fun fact. Dead Sea is very important because just as in India we have the concept, I don't know about Germany, but in India we have this concept of multani mitti, that you put it on your face and you're like beautiful the next day. So it is considered that any kind of mud or remnants that you get from near the Dead Sea, these are sold very expensive. Like it's complete tourism business. You get these pouches, you get these hair lotions, you get these like, God knows what kind of lotions from Dead Sea that, you'll become so beautiful. It's another marketing gimmick. Anyway, so here is the Dead Sea, here's the Jordan River, here's the Sea of Galilee. We'll talk also about water policy, like water apartheid, how water differentiation is a problem and how people get water over here, both in Israel and Palestine. So I've been to Jericho, Ramallah, Bethlehem, Hebron, Nablus, Tulkaram, Jenin. And I'll try to, and obviously East Jerusalem, and I'll try to show you through the visual tour how all of them look like. Now coming here, how do you enter? So area A, area B, area C. So if you look at this, so everything in area A, it is in complete control of the Palestinian Authority. So Mahmoud Abbas, Abu Mazen, who is the president of it, leader, head of it, he takes control of the entire, his authority, Palestinian government takes control of area A. So you can see Jenin, you can see Tubas, you can see Tulkaram, you can see some parts of Nablus. Nablus is very famous for making soaps. It has this very old industry of soap making. Very beautiful. Then Jericho, some parts of it comes under area A, and some parts here, Salfit. I'll show you how Salfit looks like. Bethlehem comes in area A. Hebron is the one in, yellow. It comes in under area C. Okay. Area A is completely, as of now, when we speak, area A is comparatively much more safer right now in West Bank, especially Bethlehem. Christmas is also coming. It's safer. What is area B? Area B is this your green colored fluorescent area. It is divided between Israeli and Palestinian security. And area C, that is all of this, all of that orange color or green or face color, whatever color, all of that comes under Israeli security control, in which the most fragile and vulnerable area in the down is Hebron. A lot of riots, a lot of incursions, a lot of militant activities, many things happen in Hebron. Now, so again, West Bank is like before I went, I thought that if there's occupation, how would it be, that if this is my land and then there are occupation forces, so it will be outside of it, outside of it. But no, it's actually inside of it. Like one street can be Palestinian Arabs, Palestinian Jewish. The other opposite across the road is the occupation. And there's a socio-economic difference. What socio-economic difference between the houses, you'll get to know. When you're there, you'll get to know, because this side will be comparatively socio-economically more underdeveloped. The other will be huge houses with swimming pools and Victorian cottages kind of, but with better technology. So you'll get to understand it. Now, this is a very important road. Look at the terminology. The Israelis call it the Allenby Bridge. The Palestinians and Jordanians call it the King Hussein Bridge border crossing. And what is this actually? So if you're coming to West Bank from Jordan, not from Tel Aviv. If you're coming to West Bank from Jordan, there's a small bridge actually that you have to cross. And that is how you enter specifically Jericho. This bridge is I had a picture of this bridge. So it is the Allenby Bridge, just above the Dead Sea. The Israelis call it Allenby Bridge. Jordanians call it King Hussein. It is completely blasphemous if you interchange it for any one of them. It's the same thing, in many of the, for example, Persian Gulf or Arabian Gulf, all of that. So you enter from here and you go straight away to Jericho. Then there is Ramallah, there's Jerusalem, Bethlehem, Hebron, as I told you, very fragile. There's no interconnection. There's a West Bank Gaza tunnel, which Hamas used. It's not actually for civilians. You need to have a permit. You cannot go from West Bank to Gaza. Most of the Palestinians in West Bank have never met any Palestinian in Gaza and vice versa. So if you go, this is like the road leading you to the bridge. As you can see, this bridge. This is the Allenby Bridge. So here you are. This is the Jordanian side. This is the Jordanian side. Then you take the bridge, you cross it, and then what awaits you? A lot of cars you can see. Here you can see a military or immigration center, actually. Or immigration center, the better word is the Israeli uh, entry point to West Bank. So you land at Amman, you book a cab. Amman is the capital of Jordan. You take a cab or a bus from Amman. Now, all of them have different currencies, so it's always better to have dollars so that you can convert it. Um, you take the cab. After 2 hours, because it's like a very, I'll show you how it looks like. It's a valley ride, so ups and downs and bumps and all of that. And eventually you come to the plain area. And the plain area here, this is the entry point to Israel. You have crossed the bridge, the Allenby Bridge or the King Hussein Bridge. Welcome to Israel. This is where you are. Now, here you're not alone. You're not, there'll be hundreds and thousands of people. It's very chaotic. And this is I can't, the picture doesn't do justice, but this window that you see where the immigration officers sit, this is like at the height of 8 feet, 8 feet or like 7 feet. Like I'm very small, so I don't know. I was like, so it's almost like 6 feet, 6 to 7 feet. So they keep on thumping and, like giving you permission or denying you permission on the passport. You do not have the visibility to see if they have accepted or rejected. Because the normal, most of the airports, when you have immigration centers, it's the same eye level, right? It's the same eye level. You are standing, you check in, you get the stamp, you don't get the stamp, whatever. It's face to face. You can see the immigration officer can see you. Here, there's a height difference. So I was a bit anxious because if the Indian passport gets the Israeli stamp, what is it saying here? Welcome to Israel, right? Immigration officer, out of the love letter, welcome to Israel. Tap. Then we as Indians will not be allowed to go to Saudi Arabia or to other Gulf countries. Now, the interesting thing is that all these Gulf countries have tacit alliances with Israel in intelligence, in agriculture, many of the things, but diplomatically, no recognition. When I went to Saudi Arabia last month, in the aeroplane, you have a television set, right? So I was looking at the map and I saw that they're showing Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, Syria, Jordan, Egypt. And the land between Egypt and Saudi Arabia, the entire peninsula, nothing is there. No name, no recognition. So, and vice versa. So, this is you enter. Thankfully, they signed on the other visa. They did not do the stamp on our passport. We get numerical rankings on the passport. So if you get the numerical ranking number 4, which means you are not a threat, you can come in. 3, it means that there is some kind of threat, but not so much. It's like easily, like, just share memes or maybe your social media activity, whatever. Pegasus might have encrypted you. Second, there is some kind of history. Either your grandparents had Palestinian heritage. It can be Jewish, it can be Muslim, it can be Christian. Doesn't matter. You are third generation, fourth generation Palestinian. So you will be taken into, once you enter this gate, after a lot of like there's massive surveillance and everything, you're checking and body checking out. Then once you enter, They will put you in offices which are like white rooms without furniture, nothing, small cabins for 6 hours, 7 hours. And in the meanwhile, they'll check everything from your social media history to everything, everything. It's a kind of psychological violence, but that's how it goes. You don't have any sign of physical violence on your body. So my colleagues were American, New Zealand, Australian, third generation Palestinians coming to the land for the first time. Parents had migrated during Al-Nakba in 1948. Grandparents had migrated or whatever. And they were put under this. If the passport mentions one, if the sticker of one is put, you will be immediately deported. Immediately deported. You will not be allowed to enter. Now you'll see a lot of, these are a lot of, so daily wage workers, that happens everywhere, right? So a lot of Palestinians go and work in Jordan. They work in Amman because it's a 2 hour drive, 2.5 hour drive, right? So they work as laborers in Jordan. In the morning, they leave. Every day they have to cross this immigration center. And every day they have to come back through this immigration center. Now, the checking of the suitcases. So, what happened with us is that in our flight, we had 3 or 4 third generation Palestinian students, all of them in their 20s. All of us, we were in our 20s. The number on their passport, the sticker came as 2, that they have Palestinian heritage, put under white rooms. Now, we don't know what's happening. We were 10 of us, 11 of us. All of us had our own suitcases like this. So we went inside. Our stamping, all of it was done. And we sat on our suitcases like that inside for 7 hours. Now you'll ask why. Because the Palestinian bus, which had to come, will come and take all of us together. So we had to wait for the other 3. We didn't know what happened. We didn't know Hebrew, we didn't know Arabic. There's no water to drink. Thankfully, someone had a sandwich or what. Everyone is like eating like a beggar sitting on the suitcases. I was observing what was happening. So when these Arabs, they come inside, right? So they, at the security, because I couldn't take pictures of it, they check everything. They throw open the bag, like literally throw open the bag, take everything out and throw it. Most of them, you'll see, will have packets of cigarettes because they get it from Jordan and they sell it in Palestine. The Israelis take all the packet of cigarettes. I think in 6 hours they had 500 packets of cigarettes. And I was like counting. And I'm not talking one packet, I'm talking about the whole, like family pack. And everyone here smokes a lot. So, or they buy other things from Jordan to come and sell in Palestine. That was also taken away. Everything is, everything is thrown on the floor and they are frisked in a very brutal way. That was for me, looking at it for 7 hours was quite difficult. I mean, just imagine, like, whatever in your suitcase it is, the technical gadget will find out if there's a bomb or anything, right? But they also know, everyone knows that these are clothes, these are packs of cigarettes, these are eatable items, these are this. And everything is thrown on the floor. Then after the frisking is done, the Palestinian has to put everything, arrange it in the suitcase and go, if they are allowed. The packet of cigarettes is not given to them. At the same time, I was thinking of the mental strain of these officers who were on duty, the Israeli officers. I mean, imagine doing that to a human being every day for 10 hours. I mean, just imagine what it does to you. Anger or aggression is not a natural emotion, right? But just imagine that you have to do. Then this is the Allenby Bridge that you cross, and then you have the cemented bridge and everything. Now I'll show you what happened to us. Can you see this? Okay. So this is the Amman airport. We landed at Jordan. This is a map of flag of Jordan. You can see yellow taxis, very expensive. And then we are here. There's no Wi-Fi. We don't know what to do. Cabs are there, where somehow we were taken by the delegation. And this is a beautiful Jordan Valley. Like just imagine for 2 hours you're looking at this view. It's beautiful, intoxicating. The air smells different. The feeling is different. You're in for an adventure. You don't know what you're expecting. And you don't see any human inhabitants, right? It's all completely desert. Very few agriculturally fertile regions. And here, like these mountains and all of it, you're crossing. All of this is Jordan. Then comes your King Hussein Bridge, Allenby Bridge. You enter. Then came the immigration center of the Israel. Welcome to Israel. We got checked in, stayed there for 7, 8 hours. Finally, the three Palestinian heritage scholars came out. Then we went. This is the Palestinian checkpoint, like entry into Palestine. So the bus took us and dropped us here. It was almost like 8ish, 8ish in the evening. And this was happening in December. The Mediterranean weather, like I thought that 4 degrees Celsius, it is saying that 4 degrees is Delhi also. I can just take one sweater and go away. Never do that in your life if you're going to the Mediterranean region. There 4 degrees is our -4 degrees. It is so cold and chilly and windy and you'll fall sick. So what's the only solution? You have black coffee without sugar, without milk. It's like tequila shots, like we drink in like cups, no, which are like buildings, huge. But there the culture is very small. This is the size of the cup for the Palestinian coffee. And that is what you have. And that keeps you warm and if you don't have sweaters. Anyway, so this is how you enter. Then I cannot share pictures of where we were for security reasons. This here is Ramallah. Ramallah is the capital of the Palestinian Authority. It's socioeconomically it is much more expensive than London. It is very modern, infrastructurally well built. And these are the Palestinian army men. This is the tomb of Yasser Arafat, the leader of PLO. He came to India also Indira Gandhi's time during 1970s. And his body, his tomb is actually on water. The architecture of it, I'll share with you all the articles that I did on journalistically. So it's on water actually. So there is a reason why it's on water. First, they don't believe that this is the final resting place for Yasser Arafat. The idea is that his main body the tomb will be buried in Jerusalem, not in Ramallah. This is a temporary tomb. Why water? Water is considered to be the cleansing force in Islam. And fluid, it reaches, it has no boundary. No one can put any border, whatever. So symbolically, it's a very minimalist architecture of Yasser Arafat's tomb that is there in the capital, Ramallah. Then just next to Ramallah, like 2 kilometers away, you have the Kalandia refugee camp. Now, it is like a shock. It was a shock to see Ramallah because in my mind, conflict zone was like blood, blood everywhere, destruction, piles, bodies, rubbles. I was not expecting high real estate buildings and um, all of that. And then knowing that, it's more expensive than London or even Oslo and all of that. But next 2 kilometers away from it, 3 kilometers away from it, you have a Kalandia refugee camp. Refugee camp. Refugee camp is what? Like, so in 1948, when a lot of Palestinians had to leave, so a lot of them were in, say, in Haifa, in Ashdod, in other areas which are now Israel. They didn't want to leave the land of Palestine. They didn't want to go to Jordan, or they didn't want to go to Syria. They didn't want to go to Egypt. So they are refugees in their own land of Palestine. So they are refugees from 1948 within West Bank. And these refugee camps are the most unsanitized, unhygienic, worst slum-like situation, very bad standard of living. It's like a slum. Now just see the socioeconomic disparity within just West Bank, within the Palestinians. So we all have entered. Here you can see these window. These are kids, sitting. It took me a while to figure out. There's a child sitting there. There are a lot of pictures of children, but I've avoided it for security reasons. I don't know if most of them are alive now, but anyway. These are Arab women sitting and gossiping. They don't understand English. We don't know understand Arabic, but we are talking. They're trying to figure out who these jokers are. And there's a certain kind of humor which is there in so much of poverty. Okay. Now every house, so it is free Palestine. Every house will have a graffiti like this. Now you see the picture over here in Arabic. So instead of call bells, the poster of every family has lost someone. The poster of the sons they have lost is put where normally the call bell is. That is the recognition or the identity of that house. Everyone is then known by the terminology changes. Then you're not known by your family name and then village name and father's name and your name. It's known by the son who passed away, the martyr kind of. So this kind of graffiti is everywhere. And just look, like it's completely, look at the sanitary conditions, the drainage system. It's very dirty. And there's slogans written in Arabic and all of it. The roads are very narrow in the refugee camp. Um, this is a mosque. All of that is in Ramallah, by the way. Look at the architecture of it and just look at the slums, which like the refugee areas which are there. This is me, and this is Birzeit University in West Bank, where a lot of foreign scholars come to study. So Birzeit University is a private university, and it is one of the best universities in West Bank. You'll see a lot of scholars sitting and preparing for the classes. This is the campus of the Birzeit University. This is also the campus of Birzeit University. It's a huge campus, not like JNU and others, but And this is me. You will not identify me. It's very embarrassing, but anyway, this is me. This is the cafeteria of the Birzeit University, where you can eat whatever you want. Now we are back at Jericho, and we are looking at Birzeit University is in Ramallah. So we are back at Jericho, and we are looking at the how the Palestinian houses are. This is how the houses are in West Bank. Here is the State of Palestine, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Ramallah. This is the state of the Foreign Ministry, like Ministry of External Affairs. You can see all the flags of all the countries that have recognized the State of Palestine put here. If I'm going fast, let me know. Then we had conversation with various ministers over there. So you'll see they're saying welcome in different languages over here. They're having a conversation with us, telling us about themselves. Then various spokespersons who are talking about what exactly, and all of them are the Palestinian Authority is run by Fatah, which is the party. Again, there's a difference between the Palestinian government or the Fatah party and Palestinian civilians. At the same time, there's a difference between the Likud party, the Israeli government, and the Israeli civilians. So when you go to state events, government events, so the government line is different from what the intrinsic civilian line will be. You can see it's a very well thought out ministry. Everything is properly, labeled. It's very European in a way, the structure is of it. Acha, I now show you what food I had. Now, why is this important? We used to have the bus leaving at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning. We'll have breakfast in the area at 8 o'clock. Now, there are so many checkpoints. Now, we were 150 people from all over the world, 11 from India itself. So there were 5, 6 buses. All of us were sitting. So imagine that breakfast is at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning, but your lunch happens at 6 o'clock at evening. What is the reason? Your buses are traveling. There are so many checkpoints in between. You're getting permission to cross from Ramallah to Kalandia or from Jerusalem to Ramallah or from one area to another area, which might be only 5 kilometers in distance, but because of the checkpoints, it might take you 2 hours. So you're in the bus 2 hours sitting. The food is coming from somewhere else. Now the food, the van that is carrying your food for 150 people, that also has to go through several checkpoints. Nothing happened to us because we were international guests, given permission by both the governments of Israel and Palestine. 150 of us. But those are Palestinians who are the drivers and the cook and everything. Their vans are Palestinian. They will have more time to spend at the checkpoint. If we are spending 2 hours, they will spend 3 hours. So we used to have, this was the first time I was like, I was literally hungry. Like I got very angry by 5 o'clock because it was the first day and there was, very limited water. There was no food, didn't know what to do. And it was the first day. And I would be like ready to pick a fight with anyone. But then I then took a window seat and sat, and I saw the checkpoint. Photography was not allowed here. I took it. Now, something about them. You will look at the uniform, you will see that, and they're taller than us. They're like 6 feet, 5'8" average height. So you will think that who are they? So in India, once you finish your 12th grade, you go to college. That is not the case in Israel. In Israel, after you finish your school, you have for men, it is military conscription for 2 years, for women, 1.5 years. Yesterday, 25th of November, was International Day for Elimination of Violence Against Women. So a lot of IDF women soldiers spoke, you know. Uh, so this is a normal checkpoint. And these are 19, 20-year-old kids, actually. They're not elder than that. They have been posted in the occupied territories. And this is, look at the baggage, the entire. That also reveals that they're also in self-defense. And then they check everyone's card, and it depends then how it goes. Inside this office, you can see they have a military, like surveillance techniques. They can check every plate number of the car, of bus, and everything. So nothing used to happen to us. But imagine that every day you are seeing such checkpoints at least 20 times in your day, every day. So anything which might be 20 minutes apart, because of the checkpoints, will take you 2 hours, 3 hours. Right now, as I told you, the entry point of Ramallah, because Ramallah is the capital, right? Ramallah has initially, before 7th of October, it had 2 checkpoints. Two. Now it has 10 checkpoints. Then this was after a few days, there was an evening, there was a wedding taking place, all of us were sitting. Then suddenly we heard the tune of putting the Bengali tune of putting the evil spirit away. And all of us were there, were quite amazed. There was a concert and many other things. These are the normal houses and the kind of agriculture. You see the palm trees and everything. This was me. We go back. No, this is again me. Now we come to Salafit, I think. This is, oh no, this is your East Jerusalem. So my camera was not good. All of this is yellow, mild yellow in architecture. It's very London kind of weather here, which is depressing. But these are all the shops, and they're heavily always under surveillance because a lot of militant activities also takes place, and a lot of violence, protest, and all of it is takes place. You see AC air conditioners are also here. Then these are the fruits and the market, this cost. There is something called as, so here it is written in Hebrew, right? Hebrew, this is Hebrew. So every product that is there, right, it has two kinds of, so those that the Palestinians make themselves, like the dates that they grow. The tagline will be in Arabic. There's a particular word for that. And the same, if it's a Israeli date, it will be in Hebrew. So what happened recently in UK was a lot of Palestinian activists went to a supermarket and started throwing all the dates and products which had the Hebrew labeling from Israel as a part of the boycott divestment movement. Economically, the currency, I'll show you, there is a Palestinian pound historically. I'll show you the picture of it. But right now, the currency that they use is Israeli shekel. Shekel is the currency that is used. Um, Let me show you what is the conversion rate. Mm, one Israeli shekel is 24 rupees. Now, coming to, so here you have all kinds of products, everything. Again, even in the plastic of these products, you have the mark that it is Israeli or Palestinians. So a lot of Palestinians don't buy Israeli products and vice versa. So this happens. You see, these are the typical stores where you have candies, where you have everything. These are the cobbled streets. This is my leg, feet. Without socks, I had to buy socks there. I didn't know it would be so cold. This is the housing in East Jerusalem. So the Arabs who have houses in East Jerusalem, their houses are bigger, better, larger. This is a stadium, football stadium. There are a lot of pictures I had, but I have not included it because of security reasons. Now, this was like a cafeteria near it where a lot of Arab women are there. Okay, from a gender perspective, as a gender academic, gender-based academic, I understand that the Palestinian resistance movement is a very patriarchal notion, very patriarchal. There's no equality. In any war, in any conflict, the biggest victims, the often victims, are women and children. The cultural understanding is very different. So if you have to look at it from the gender perspective also, if you think that no, 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 it's a very equal resistance movement, it's not, I'm sorry. The same goes for the Israeli resistance also. I asked one of the Israeli historians about the role of women and how, what was the gender paradigm in the Israeli societies. And he didn't have the answer, proper answer. The doors are like this. This is East Jerusalem. These are, you can see the waste dustbins and all of it scattered around. These are the cobbled streets of East Jerusalem. These are underground, you go up and down. It's like a mystery, magical, you know, level. Just a second, I'll come. So this is again East Jerusalem. You look at the windows. It's very, the historic nostalgia of it when I was looking at all of this, that how old it might be. I mean, this architecture, like every house, how old it might be. These are all the corns and olives and all of it that you can purchase. Like we have the concept of puchkas or golgappas or whatever. That's street food kind of. So these are the street food, like you go and buy and then these are the market area. These are all candies. So if they're not in a label, so then they're Palestinians. If they're in a carton or a box or a package, then it's Israeli. Then the Palestinians will not buy it. So These are all candies. And in East Jerusalem, I saw that the socio-economic condition was comparatively better at a equal level. Not that, you have big houses and then slums like in Ramallah. So, or refugee areas or whatever. But at the same time, the level of surveillance in East Jerusalem is higher, is very high. Then comes, these are all the spices, all of the spices that you can buy kilo wise. Like we buy, dal and rice and all of it, lentils and all of it here. These are all the market areas you can buy jackets and go shopping. This is in East Jerusalem. Most of the shop owners over here are Armenian Christians. The Armenians who, after 1915, the genocide, they had to leave Armenia, which is, as you know, next to Azerbaijan, and they left, went to different places in Middle East and Europe. A lot of shopkeepers here are Armenian Christians. They're not Palestinian Christians, they're Armenian Christians. Armenian Christians is the one particular, whenever I talk about Jerusalem, I talk about that. Why are you not talking about Armenian Christians? That is also one population which is there. So this is there. You can do all your shopping and all of that. Here, now we come to, so it is the Dome of Rock, what Jerusalem is famous for. So one side of it is the Western Wall, which is the Jewish sacred place. Then there's the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is the Christian holy place. The Christian holy place has the birthplace of Virgin Mary and also the oldest Armenian church. Then you have the other side, you have the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the place from where it is believed that Prophet Muhammad left for the heaven, and the Dome of Rock. So basically, it is like Ayodhya and the division of Ayodhya in India. Like so in one particular very small territory, you have uh, Jewish, Muslim, and Islamic holy places. So the side of when you enter the gate, only Muslims can enter Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of Rock. We were able to enter through diplomatic means. But there are many protocols that you have to follow, like the length, you have to cover your head and the length of your dress. It's not like, you can have only till elbow length. No, you have to buy, like, wear, there are skirts that are given, which are lower, below your ankle, that you have to wear. Thankfully, I was looking like a lost child, kind of, so I was overdressed. But anyway. The Dome of Rock side is guarded by the Jordanian Authority. So the King of Jordan is actually the security holder for the Holy Mosque, not the Palestinian Authority. The other two sides, the Jewish guards are there. They take care of it. There was one particular Jewish guard who had his wife in Bombay, and he was like chatty, and he was like, these are a lot of like trinkets and necklaces and all of it through the market area that you enter, you go and you get it. This is the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, East Jerusalem. These are like 900,000 God knows how many years old. These churches, these are Armenian churches. There's a Holy Cross. So the Christian Palestinians or the Armenians who are there, they are never talked about. Everyone thinks Palestinians are Muslims. Nah, no. And also the Armenian population. These are all inside the churches. There are many, there are 3, 4 churches. This is a cat, very beautiful and well fed, or has a disease. So I'm traveling from a church inside the church to the other. I remember I was completely alone. This was um, my group was also traveling, but here I was like, let me get to know about it. Inside, it's like a courtyard, one church, then the next, then the next. And here comes your famous Dome of the Rock. Now, there are a couple of things that you have to see. In Indian mosque, if you go, Al-Aqsa is black with a black dome. Pictures are not allowed to be taken here. Uh, Look at the number of people here, very less. And in Indian mosque also, because we're the most populated country, but you'll always see millions, not millions, like at least 50,000 people all the time. So not every Palestinian can go inside the Dome of Rock or Al-Aqsa. They're not allowed. During Ramadan, maybe. During Eid, maybe, but mostly no. I have a footage, I have a video of how it looks from inside. I'll share it with you. I didn't know how to incorporate a video in this. So this is roughly how it looks from inside. It's a very, very sacred place for Muslims. I'm also agnostic, but I personally felt no connection, but that's personal. This is how it looks deeply. This is how it looks from the outside. It's all like Taj Mahal's marble, all of it. Huge courtyard. Lamps are, in Turkish, these lamps are called as fanus. So these lamps and itr that you see, na, these perfumes, these are the most touristy thing to buy. These are very, very good, apart from the Dead Sea beauty salt. So these are sold a lot here. It's a very Middle Eastern design. There's a lot of shops outside. You see the Armenian Catholic Church, which is here. We had Sarah Lee Watson, who is the executive director of Democracy for the Arab World Now, talking with us. In fact, she was the first speaker who gave us a podcast. She's an Armenian Christian. So she talked about her family history when her parents had to leave from here in 1960s. And she talks about the Armenian church, and I have to send this picture to her. So all of this, you go inside, the churches, it is all East Jerusalem. There are many, like 3, 4 churches. Then you also have like little food cell, like in the courtyard cellars. This is the birthplace of Virgin Mary in East Jerusalem. Then you go inside, take the stairs, go up. Now here are the graffiti, a lot of them. Just like you have a lot of road sellers, selling vegetables and everything. This is how it looks at night. So this area, you see, it's like a huge rectangle. Here, this is the Dome of Rock. Next to it in the black mold is the Al-Aqsa Mosque. They both are two different architectures. Um, then you have a lot of Armenian and Catholic churches also over here. Then one particular, this entire side, it's the Western Wall or the Wailing Wall or the temples, the Jewish history has the history of, like, can you imagine during even the time of Cleopatra, there were Jews. Even during the time of Julius Caesar, there were Jews, like 34 BC. So, like in Hindus, we have the context of temples. They also have the context of temples, but not like us. Their sacred places are called as temples. They also have a Wailing Wall, and I'll tell you the story behind the Wailing Wall and how the temples were destroyed, first temple, second temple, all of it. So it's a very, very, very religiously sacred place for the Jews. So imagine all of it in one particular territory. all of it. Now, we are back to Jericho. We are doing a candlelight march for all the people who had been killed that year. Now we are in an area called as Salafith, which I showed you in the map. Here also with the state of the governorate of Salafith, we are there. Salafith, the road looks like this. This is how most of the roads in West Bank look like. Now see, this is the socioeconomic thing I was talking about. So these are barbed wires, if you can see. So I'm seeing from the Palestinian side. These are the Jewish settlements, and these are socioeconomically way better and socioeconomically like with swimming pool and others. The Israeli government gives this at a discounted rate to those who want to stay in West Bank, and they have huge area to live. These are lemons, big ones. So I wanted to share a picture. So we are just walking, we are taking pictures. How old are these, little structures we don't know? We are in Salafit. We are going inside the houses and seeing. Here it is the community-based activities in the Salafit Governorate in their Istia town. It is by the Humanitarian Aid Department of European Commission, funded by European Commission. This is one of the mosques, and then someone with a higher socioeconomic capacity has a house, and then you can see all of it. This is how the Palestinian homes look like. We are on the northern side of West Bank right now. No concept of house painting at all. This is the mosque. You can see the loudspeakers over here for the azan, and then. So if we are looking here, the occupation will be here in this area. Then these are the houses in Salafit. The occupation is here. The occupation is here. We are in the northern area. This is a very interesting story. Uh, these barbed wires are 8 to 10 feet in height. Let me. So this is the barbed wire. You can see the CCTV and all of that footage. Now, this is the story of a very interesting Palestinian. His house is the only house in between the apartheid wall. The apartheid wall is 8 feet and above. It's like the Berlin Wall, which was it. And the apartheid wall is, his house is in between the apartheid wall. So this is his house. This is the apartheid wall. And this side is the other area of West Bank. Which means that this guy cannot meet his relatives. He cannot cross the apartheid wall. He has to take a larger route to go and meet his relatives. He's only the only house here. So imagine how whatever he's able to grow, he's able to eat. There's no so much of access. Um, let me tell you his name. He and his wife. It is called as in the Israeli terminology, it is called as a no man's land. The one house between Israeli settlements, apartheid wall, and the Palestinian homes. The wife can't see properly. He also is very old. His name is Hami Amer, and it's in the Masha village, which is near the Kalkilia district. And it's the only house which is in between, the apartheid wall, the Israeli settlement, and the other houses in the West Bank. Since 1980s, when the Israeli settlements were started to be made, Hami Omar, his little village was destroyed slowly and slowly. 80% of it was destroyed slowly and slowly. Hani Omar decided he will not leave. He decides he'll not leave. He'll not leave his house. He had a restaurant, a poultry, a nursery. All of it was destroyed by 2004. The Israeli authorities did try to work out a deal with him, but he was ready that even at a very higher price, whatever you pay me, I will not leave. There are a lot of court cases going on, a lot of, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, a lot of people come, European Commission come to interview him. He had made his decision. Um, he had 6 children. Um, his children might be in their 30s. And there were a couple of times when his children were arrested. I have the entire story, which I'll share with you. Just a second. I'll share it with you. You can have a look. This is the Palestinian dress, by the way. Like we have salwar suit and everything. This is the Palestinian. In the kafir, the kind of knitting that you see, right? The knitting that you see in kafir, that kind of knitting is a different kind of knitting that is done on the Palestinian garments. That is also seen over here. This is entirely a Palestinian garment. So there was this apartheid wall. This is just outside his house, all of it. It is all barricaded, as you can see. He can't go out and in. So I went and wrote. There was nothing, no chalk, nothing to write. So I went and wrote justice with a stone on the apartheid wall, and within 5 minutes it was erased. So like there's a lot of military checkpoints and a lot of jeeps. A lot of them are deployed. They keep the apartheid wall clean. They clean everything that is written within it 5 minutes. This is one particular portrait view of Kalkilia district, how it looks like. Now this is, so if you think that they don't have cars, they don't have TVs, they don't have restaurants, you're wrong. They have all of that. See, like this restaurant is from 1920s. This is the Israeli settlement, the best view I could get. This is the Israeli settlement, completely all of it. We are here in Nablus. Nablus is also famous for soaps. Nablus is also famous for ceramics. There's a cup that I got from there, which I never use. Ceramic cup. So they make a lot of like pottery and ceramics. All of it is also sold a lot here and then internationally. All of these. Then they showed us how they, burn it and how they burn the mold and everything. This is so Abraham and Sarah. These are two people. Just think about it in a very simple way. Abraham and Sarah are a man and a wife. They'll have a lot of kids. And the next 2000 years, one child will become Jewish, one child will become Muslim, one child will become Christian. That is, though the chronology is Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So it is believed that all of the monotheistic religions trace back to one particular couple, Abraham and Sarah. And it is in all the religious textbooks. I'm speaking in a very superficial way. This is the Mosque of Hebron. This is where I felt something. Hebron, I told you, we are down south. Most fragile and vulnerable place. Half of this is a mosque, half of it is a synagogue. So one side, the Muslims enter and pray because Abraham, Sarah's tomb, it's for both the religions, right? So half of it is for the Muslims, half of it is for the Jews. So this is the tomb of Abraham and Sarah. Hebron, this is, and all the other holy. This is a very contested area. This is a very, very fragile area. A lot of incursions, a lot of military checkpoints, a lot of it. So you feel like you can go, you're a Palestinian Muslim, you can go to the mosque in Hebron now. Checkpoints. Mm, these are various structures. This is one of the streets. There's a street called the Shuhada Street. You see all these shops and all of it. So that Shuhada Street is very infamous because one side of it, it is all filled with snipers who can target you anytime. And the other side is like hotels and restaurants and all of it. This is the view from on a rainy morning, looking out at. We are just like the Shuhada Street is just next to it. We are not on that. Thank you. Now coming towards the end of it, this is Bethlehem. This is Bethlehem. The Christmas tree, it is like 20, 30 feet high. Like human beings are this high, so just imagine how. Last year, Christmas was not celebrated though. We went to the church, so a lot of, lanterns, a lot of fanus, a lot of lights. All the churches are very old. Jesus, Moses, tablet, all of it. So this is you're inside Bethlehem, where Christ was born. And I'll show you exactly the place where he was born. So they burn candles like we burn agarbattis and everything. So they burn, light the candles over there, make a wish. There are different kinds of candles. That is how you worship. These are very tall candles. A lot of lamps, a lot of fanners. Virgin Mary and Christ. So a lot of lockets and everything. People leave here. This also dates back to a very long time. People leave many things that they find, like given this church. This is where your Christ was born, this place, this year. So when any Christian comes to pay their, so it is, you go down the stairs and everything. So you kiss the floor. It's a very small part of a floor, like, underground. So that's where you kiss on the floor where Christ was born. This is where your Jesus Christ was born. Christmas is coming. Then the chandeliers and all of it. Then this is the next day somewhere we are back on the road again. Here we are near Hisham's palace. It is Kashar Hisham. It is near Jericho. It is a like a what do you say? Historical site. It's an old historical museum kind of site over here, where you will see a lot of early man's or ancient history, pottery and remnants kept over there, which were found here in the Palestinian land. So the utensils and the cups and all of it, the coins that they use, buttons, pottery equipments. We are just next to Jericho, so in the central of West Bank. And here they're like, it's like Nalanda. There's a lot of bricks and stonework and all of it. So then it's the palace inside the palace, the entire, Hisham's palace. You see the entire structure of how things were, whatever remnants of it is there. And this is towards the end when we had to leave. This is the Palestinian Authority's immigration center. So you will see that so huge, so many chairs, because every day I told you Palestinians go to Jordan, right? And they have to cross the Israeli entry and then come to the Palestinian entry. every day, morning, evening, morning, evening, morning, evening. So that's why there's so many. So we finally, the day we were leaving, it was a holiday, so there was very less people. Otherwise, it's like crowded. And then finally we crossed that, uh, and the funny thing happened that our leader had left. So suddenly, when we crossed the Palestinian side, everyone told me that, Shubda, you have to take us. And I'm like, what? And it was my happy birthday. I'm like, what? You want me to cross 3 borders in one day? It's like taking 11 Indians safe, alive. I don't know Hebrew, I don't know Arabic. What are you crazy? So they took a lot of dramatic pauses and somehow they convinced me. They said that you have traveled before, so you know the immigration and everything. I'm like, the immigration here is like on the 8 feet. I'm like 5 feet 3. They don't, I can't even see if they're stamping or not. So they're like, no, no, save us. We don't know. So I said, okay, fine, how much shakil we have. Somehow we calculated. We couldn't read the numbers of the shakil or anything. We didn't know what to do. I'm like, okay, fine. We'll talk in Hindi. We went to the Israeli checkpoint. I said, at the immigration center, I told everyone that no one is going to speak anything or do anything stupid. This is Amman, Jordan, anyway. So no one is going to do anything stupid. And we all are like proper body language because few of us were cartoons over there on that trip, a few scholars. So somehow we said, then the Israeli office guard, she said, hey, you're doing something. I'm like, no, 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 not doing anything. So I ensured that all of them had were in the line properly with the passport. I was telling them in Hindi what they needed, what they didn't, what they had to say, what they didn't have to say. I'll edit this out. I'll not put it on YouTube. And then somehow we were able to get out. Now, when we got out of the Israeli border checkpoint, now the problem is that we don't know the language, we don't know the coins, we don't know anything. And we were told that, ha, there's some van that will take you to Jordan. And there is an immigration center in Jordan also when you enter Jordan, technically. That was another headache. But there we had some people speaking English. So we were like, okay. Now from there, so we did eeny, miny, miny, moo. That is me. And I said, we'll sit in that van and we'll go wherever it goes. If it is here, it must be going to Jordan. That was my simplest explanation, is often the right one. I made all of us sit on that bus. 2, 3 hours, dik chik. We finally went to the Jordan Immigration Center. Somehow we gave all the shakil we had in the coins to the bus driver. He took all of it. I don't know if we were looted or we were less or whatever, but we were alive. Then we went over there. We went to the Jordanian Authority Immigration Center. There it again took 3 hours or whatever. We went, then went to Jordan. We were there for a couple of days. I had 2 passports for this trip. German authorities offered this exception for exactly this case. Yes. So that is the story.